British troops are more likely to face trials at The Hague if a government plan to limit prosecutions of service personnel gets the go-ahead, a former defence minister warned tonight. MPs debate the Overseas Operations, Service Personnel and Veterans bill at its second reading in the Commons on Wednesday, with the Tories claiming it will end vexatious legal cases against our boys and girls. Senior Labour MP Kevan Jones, a defence minister in the last Labour government, fears the legislation increases the likelihood of UK servicemen and servicewomen being tried by the International Criminal Court. The planned law creates a presumption against prosecution for torture and other grave crimes after 5 years, he said. The government views the measure as one which will protect soldiers. But, Mr. Jones said, most experts fear it will allow international tribunals to become involved in the British legal system. He told the Mirror, I am concerned that the UK government chose not to consult with the Judge Advocate General in the drafting of this bill and continues to ignore the significant bipartisan concerns which have been voiced by many, including the former Chief of Defence Staff and the UN Rapporteur on Torture. Close quote. The Ministry of Defence said the bill delivers on the government's manifesto commitment to tackle vexatious claims and end the cycle of reinvestigations against the armed forces. Said, this government made a promise to the nation to protect service personnel and veterans from vexatious claims and endless investigations. We have not shied away from the challenge, and today are one step closer to fulfilling that commitment. Close quote. He added, our armed forces risk their lives to protect us, and it is vital we continue to progress this legislation, providing certainty for the troops who find themselves on the front line in the future. Close quote. The Overseas Operations Bill was introduced in March after wars in Iraq and Afghanistan triggered an unprecedented number of legal claims. Said, this bill comes with a weight of misinformation about the supposed need to prevent vexatious prosecutions, but this legislation will cause real and lasting damage to the reputation of the armed forces. It is in no one's interests for members of the armed forces to be given a free pass over alleged war crimes, and that's why even former senior military figures have spoken out against it. What does it say about the UK's armed forces to suggest that they need immunity from prosecution for acts of torture and other serious crimes? Writing in The Guardian, Lieutenant Colonel Nicholas Mercer, who was senior military legal advisor to the 1st Armoured Division during the 2003 US-led invasion of Iraq, feared the bill would see a rise in British cases referred to the ICC. He warned, while the government seeks to shield itself from blame, soldiers may well find themselves in the International Criminal Court, whose jurisdiction will be triggered if the British government chooses to avoid prosecuting them. Close quote.